Hello, and welcome to Thinking Outside of the Box, where BOX stands for Business Analysis Extra. My name is Kirillo. I'm Competence Manager of Business Analysis Office at SoftServe, and we had some great speeches from colleagues of mine earlier this conference. I really enjoyed every single one of them. Hope you had as well. And I know that I will really enjoy this one. But before we start, please let me remind you of some rules that apply throughout this session. Please stay muted the whole time. Put your questions into the Zoom chat. Be active and enjoy. Now, let me proceed with introducing our speaker today. A lady who really needs no introduction, but I will do it anyway. The person I'm about to introduce is a certified business analysis professional with over 10 years of diverse IT experience. Many of you may know her and her achievements as Business Analysis Office Director at SoftServe, where she successfully led an office with almost 400 business analysts. And thanks to her leadership and great team of like-minded people, we have launched IABA endorsed courses, trainings, workshops, and believe it or not, BA hackathons globally. Several months ago, she took on a new challenge, and now she's driving service excellence and change management within the entire company. The topic she's going to present is somewhat controversial, the conspiracy behind product ownership. So, without further ado, I give you the one and only Nati Nazar. Nati, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Thank you. That was a very nice introduction. I would not even do that myself. So guys, a little technical thing. Let me share my desktop and start the presentation. Yeah, so let me know once you see it. We can see. You see, and you see just the slide, not anything else. Yes.
Right.
Okay. Nothing is flying over the screen or whatever. Yeah. So my name is Nati Nazar, and I'm very proud that I started my career in IT as a business analyst, and whatever I do and whatever challenges I accept, and in my career, I still perform, BA role. I still perform, a lot of the techniques from business analysis, and this discipline helps me a lot in my daily routine and in my challenges and tasks and projects. So that's something to be proud of. So I'm not sure about who we have on this call. Do we have only BAs, or do we have the various audience? But let's figure it out. So what I'm going to talk today about, I know that the title sounds very attractive because that's about product ownership. But what I wanted to uncover with you today is that what is really a product owner and how to approach this, let's say, discipline, direction, how to act as a product owner, what frameworks we have on the market that can help us in this journey, and how does it fit in your career development, personal development, and maybe what statuses you're going to have, acting as a PO in your company. So it depends. There are so many questions. There are so many holy words. And I wanted to raise that. So I'm not sure, how good I will be in discussing this, differences or commonalities between product owner and other roles. And I would like to encourage you to be very active with your questions, suspicions, conspiracy theories, and other stuff that would help us, have this conversation from all the possible angles that we can. So the agenda is pretty simple. Yeah, we're gonna do a step back. We'll try to understand, how it appear the product ownership and how to treat it and how to, use it in your specific context. So we'll uncover some of the definitions described by different authors and different, books and frameworks. We also will deep dive into the newest framework developed by the Institute of Business Analysis, because SoftServe is a partner of this institute, and we heavily, rely on the standards that Institute produces, and we try to integrate them as quickly as possible into our career maps, into our competency model development, and into the daily routine of our business analysts and not just business analysts. And then we're going to have Q&A. Yeah, so that's pretty simple. So for me, it's important to understand who we have on the call. When you guys were joining, I was looking through, the participants list, and there are so many people that I don't recognize, and maybe we didn't even met personally, which is absolutely possible. So I would like to better understand who you are, and I would like you to help me with that. So Marta will launch a poll right now, and I want you to answer a very simple question. What is your current position? Yeah, what do you do? Are you a BA? Are you a product owner, a product manager, a project manager, or anything else? Put the other, yeah? So what I really need to understand, what is your perspective of looking into this? Because different perspective might have different perceptions of what a product ownership is, or might be, or could be, or, you might have some, bad or good experience with that. So let me know who you are. Okay, I'm gonna reply as well. You see, it's easy. Just hit the button, choose the position that you have, that you're entitled with, and we're gonna see in a minute. So Marta, how much time do we need? A minute for everyone to fill it in and see who you guys are.
Selected?
I'm sorry, what?
What is your answer?
There is no proper answer. It's a multiple choice.
No, what you selected?
What's your answer?
I selected business analyst, of course.
Yeah.
Whatever I do, I will always call myself a business analyst, because that's you see, 82% of business analysts. So we have just 3% of people who call themselves a product owner. We have 1% of product managers. We have 2% of project managers, and we have a bunch of other people. So I suspect this might be people related to software development, quality assurance, UI, UX, and other interesting activities. But that's my assumption, but let's keep it like this. The second question I have to you, so it's not it. Yes, so now we understand that we have mostly BAs, and I think the information shared will be super relevant for you to understand, how do you fit in all this product ownership hype. So it's changing. So the second thing is that there are a lot of different stories, conspiracies about the product ownership. Who is the product owner? Is it a BA? Is it a product manager? Is it a project manager? Is it someone else? Is it the person from the space? Yeah, and everyone perceives it in a different way. So what are the responsibilities of the product owners and things like that? So I want you to open your chat window and share if you heard some myths, misconceptions, misunderstandings, or any like fuck up night stories about the product owners, like what they were told to do or supposed to do, but they shouldn't do that, or something like that. So very brief. I don't want you to share the whole story, but maybe some word combinations of the typical misconceptions that you've heard. One of the most common that I hear is that product owner is absolutely the same as business analyst. Yeah, and this is partially true, partially not true, and we're going to cover that. Maybe you've heard some other misconceptions of this or other kind. So we will give you a minute to share your thoughts. Don't be afraid. We won't do the mapping of who replied what. It doesn't really matter, but we just need to keep the conversation going.
Okay,
and
we have the first one.
Okay, go ahead.
We don't need a business analyst. We work in Scrum. We need a product owner. That's from Irene.
Okay. Yeah,
that's just
I've
one.
heard that millions of times. Yeah. Is it Irina Krichkova?
Yep.
Yeah. I can tell.
While we're waiting, I can share something that I have also heard, that, for example, that product owner is basically the same as product manager. They're the same thing.
Correct. I've heard that too. And we're going to deep dive into that. So actually there will be, so IABA even provides the metrics of, differences in positions, but, all of that is very much depending on the context that we live in, and on the context of, our organizations, how our teams are organized, what values and frameworks we use as a company, what we like to use personally. what are the expectations of, I don't know, of the end beneficiaries? Is it a client? Is it the end user or whatever? So it very much depends on where we are. And for anyone being involved into business analysis, and it also implies to project managers and product managers, anyone else, because all of them are partially involved into business analysis or fully involved. So we need to analyze the context. Yeah, this is one of the core things that we need to be cautious about. And it's not just about the product or project we work in, but also about, how we work and organize. So to better understand how we need to act, what are our responsibilities, we need to understand the context of the entire, business running around us. So do we have any other
Yeah, we have
thoughts?
more thoughts. So one of those is upper management level person says, I am the PO, but they have no time to perform those tasks in the project. That one from Cisco Nilsson. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. We have another one from Motas Helal. Business analyst is the one how just scrolled up. One how go under the hood and act like an information bridge between technical guys and business stakeholders. PO is the same like PM, and both they are only related to the business, not technical. So we have another one. We usually call CTO or CEO as PO. That's another thing. Another thought from Mike. PO knows all the answers. That's another thing. Then we have another thing from Elena. We do not need a product owner as we have a BA. They have the same responsibilities. So this is really close of what we just mentioned. Another one, as far as I know, product owner is a role in Scrum team, and BA is usually a member of development team within the Scrum team. Product manager, unless he fulfills PO role, is usually a bit higher than PO and has wider responsibilities.
Okay, so some of those
more? We have more.
Are there more? Yeah, so if there are like 100 of them, we can stop.
No,
if there are like
there's
2 or
just
3
two.
more.
There's just 2 more.
Okay.
Product owner makes sure that product development is following the product roadmap. That's another one. And product owner is the role between BA and product manager. The difference is that the final decision regarding the product is made by another person, might be client or product manager.
Okay, so I must admit that some of the thoughts shared, they are not misconceptions, they are quite true. But let's see. So people sometimes have their experience and they try to explain how they understand the role, the position, the framework in their own words, in their own world, because they are limited by their experience and by their knowledge, and this is how they perceive that. And for us, depending on how we want to be called and what kind of role we're ready to undertake, we need to make sure that we understand that context. But in order to understand the context, we need to understand, so where does product ownership comes from? Yeah, we need to understand the roots. We need to understand, how did it appear? So imagine that the majority of us are of the same age. Yes, so we might have started our career when we were, just graduates, and the world was living in a sort of project-centered world. Yeah, so teams were organized to meet the deadlines, to commit to some deliverables, to work on a free scope. So this is, guys, what you work on. This is your set of tasks and activities. This is what you have to do. Yeah, everything was around the project. So the project have a fixed budget, has a fixed scope, have a fixed schedule, and with the predictability is a key. Yeah, so in order for us to move from point A to point B, we need to have all that, at hand, and we need to make sure we understand how we move forward. So teams were organized to meet the deadlines, to fulfill the scope, to complete the tasks. So that was the measure of success. Yeah, this is, guys, the documentation you provided at WIS. We do it from A to Z, and we're done, and we treat this project as successful. Yeah, then something happened. So this project-centered approach existed for, I don't know, for as long, it exists still right now. Yeah, and it's not bad in a nutshell, because we need somehow to make sure that we organize people in the most effective way and we deliver the results, which is a very good mission. But at one point of time, it appeared Agile. And why it appeared? Because something was missing in that formula. Yeah, people were focused on a project, on a task, on a documentation, and on a schedule, and a little attention was paid to what really values to the end user, to the end beneficiary, to the end customer, let's say, yeah, to the buyer persona and user persona. So what we deliver is okay, yeah. And imagine that before Agile, everything was working in a predictable approach, yeah. So we used waterfall in any other similar methodology. We had to analyze, we had to plan, we had to everything, you know, as an input, you know, at the very beginning, yeah, the project plan, the deadlines, the scope, and then we start working and deliver that. And since a lot of things change on the way, we were not flexible enough to incorporate these changes. And of course, projects to projects, they differ. Yeah, of course, it depended, you know, on a team spirit, and maybe some people were, you know, more reluctant to changes than others. But so in a nutshell, if I would generalize that, this is how it looked like. Yeah, and at some point of view, you know, people stood out and said, so we need to make sure we not just follow the schedule and we not follow the prescribed tasks, but we also care about the customer, yeah? We also care about the different ideas and thoughts we have in a team, because while you're coding something, while you're developing a product, building a product, designing a product, you come up with some other ideas that might not fit into the initial documentation, into the initial plan, which might be okay, and this is what users might be expecting from us, yeah? So this thing was kind of not structured and it was missing, and the world moved to agile mode, yeah, where the core values are to value, you know, individuals and interactions. Yeah, we work as a team, we collaborate as a team. There is not a person that only develops this piece of documentation, another person only codes this, another person only tests it. Yeah, we work together and we come up with different ideas. We value the working software, so the idea is to have a product that is lovable, that is usable, that is workable. And we don't struggle to produce tons of documentation, you know, for the next generations, for the, you know, for the next upcoming centuries, for the archives. So, which is okay, documentation exists in Agile, but it has to be meaningful, yeah? It has to be developed to some extent. We value the customer. We want to collaborate with the customer. We don't want to have customer, you know, only at the beginning when business case is developed, the customer pays the money, the customer says, you know, I'm expecting to get this in 2 years. You come after 2 years with what you've developed, and it's not needed by anyone because things changed, market is growing, competition is growing, and whatever you've developed doesn't, you know, is not quite, you know, an advantage and competitive advantage to the customer. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. And responding to a change. Yes, the changes happen. This is not just change requests. I want to have this bar pink, this bar blue. Yeah, it's about the business logic. Sometimes it's about the processes. Yeah, so people we, you know, develop software for, you know, they might have some changes that, you know, are, you know, raised by the market, by the competition, by any other factor, you know, by the COVID. Yeah, and we need to be flexible to change that. Yeah, we don't have to rewrite 300 pages of documentation to reduce some, you know, little piece of software. So that's the core values. And based on the Agile manifesto and the principles of Agile, you know, different methodologies arose, and the world started moving into more product-centered approach, yeah? And product-centered approach is about this team collaboration. This is about constant feedback loop. Well, we don't wait till the very end to understand if what we develop makes sense to the client, but we try to incorporate the changes. We try to work in the short increments to get this feedback and to understand what needs to be changed in the short run, yeah? Though we still have this strategic goal, we still have this long-term vision of what we're going to do. And in this environment of collaboration, of engagement, of empathy, yeah, where we test, where we do the prototypes, where we try to validate hypotheses at the very early stage to get the feedback and understand if it makes sense to invest into this development or not, where we don't invest tons of money into some features which will never be used by users, yeah, we can, you know, do that in a sort of experimental mode, yeah. And in this, you know, environment, we understood that we don't need just the project managers and product managers that we had in the past, yeah, that would follow the schedule and tasks. We need someone who's gonna, align all the stakeholders. We need someone who's gonna work with all the team members, raise the spirit, provide the vision, and track from iteration to iteration if this value is delivered. And this value has different components. Yeah, this is the value of the end product that we're building, for the customer. And this is the value of the processes that we have as a team, Are the communications that we are having effective? Should we change that? Do we need to reorganize? Do we need to reshuffle? Are we successful as a team? So it has internal and external focus. So value is inside and outside. And in this environment, with this vision, appeared the not probably a profession, but a role of a product owner. So some people say, and I will provide a quotation from Howard Podasva. I'm not sure if you know, this is a recognized expert and thought leader on the market. And he is a consultant in business analysis. And he actually is an author of Business Analysis Handbook. So you can find his webinars all over the place. And he has a very, he explains in a very nice way, how those methodologies were changing, so what roles were changing. And what he's saying is that, so basically, product owner is just the new evolved version of a product manager, project manager, anyone else who was responsible for, developing a product and understanding the client and end users. And so that it would fit into this agile method, in the agile philosophy, so that we would work successfully. Because, if we evolve, from waterfall to agile, people need to evolve, what kind of roles they play and how they act and what they deliver in these frameworks, in this methodology. So that was an important shift. And this is how product owner appeared. And then started the, a mess started, because some companies tried to integrate this product-centered approach in-house, and they were still having, hybrid methodologies. So they were mixing waterfall with the agile. And still, even these days, it's 2021, I heard that people organize into the Scrum teams, they have a product owner, but they still want to have at the very beginning the fixed scope to understand, what they do, and they do that on a very detailed, way, which is not quite what Agile is about. So we don't need to have that detailed scope up front, because we need to test the ideas. We need to find out that, what we plan to succeed in our goal achievement is okay, is validated by the users, and to move forward with that. So we can have some ideas, but we don't necessarily need a fixed scope. And I think a lot of you will disagree with me, especially BAs. They feel secure when they have, a matrix in front of them, and when they have, the components that they will be working on. I totally nailed that, but this is the philosophic level. So don't freak out. And what he's saying is that so the product owner plays this role of the modern product manager. So he works on both the strategic and the tactical level. And it has overlaps with the PM, it has overlaps with the business analysis, it has overlaps with any other position that was created before Agile, was taken into practice. So that's normal that we're confused sometimes, and we need to better understand, what is the position of this role. So this is the history. So let's leave it there. So we changed the world from the project. So the world changed from project-centered approach to the product-centered approach. Agile methodology appeared, and people reshuffled, they reorganized in the way they can deliver the maximum value to the end users, and they can work collaboratively and value all the different opinions. So this is what matters in the historic perspective. Now, what I hear these days is that people mix the roles and the position and their career maps and how they can grow in different competencies. So first of all, product owner were created as a role. And of course, even if it's a role, it doesn't mean you have to nail yourself, how you're going to work. You need to have a framework. What is expected from you? What do you expect from the others? Yes, you need to have some sort of a guidance. And those guidance, they exist. So we're going to go through them one by one. So the mass that we have in the world. So after, Agile Manifesto, was proclaimed and it became super mega popular, and it was heavily pushed and promoted by the Silicon Valley, by the, tech incubators and stuff like that. And the first methodology that we grasped was Scrum. And in Scrum, the product owner is someone accountable for maximizing the value of the product and engaging the team. Yeah, and this is the collaborative work, and that it doesn't mean that Scrum product owner is someone who manages those people reports to them. For that kind of organizational activities, we have a role of a Scrum master, and not only for that, of course, but that's not what I'm going to cover today. But there is someone who can align all of the stakeholders, internal, external, the client, all the different people involved into this product design, delivery, and whatever, and all of the cycles. Someone who understands the value that needs to be delivered, someone who understands the pains, the needs, the gains from the product, and who can organize the team so that they would build this common vision, and based on this common vision, they will produce the design options of the solution they are building, right? And in Scrum product ownership, it's not stated, yes, should be a product owner, a BA by the background. Yeah, should he or she be a product manager, by his background? It's not stated like that. Yeah, it's for us to make, common sense decision, who fits into this role. And in order to understand who fits and which competency is the best that fits, we need to understand, what people are going to cover that role, what skills they have, what abilities they have, because the role is very complex. We need to admit it. Yeah, it's not just about users, not just about writing user stories and managing the backlog. It's much more than that. But then, not that many years ago, we've got another methodology, which is SAP. And SAP substituted the meaning of the product ownership that we know from Scrum and from the Agile manifesto to something different. Yeah. So how they treated, if we build, scaled Agile teams. Yeah. So we run a program. Yeah. We have, a lot of things going on, a lot of teams working. So they divided this tactical level and strategic level. And strategic level of the, product being developed is more this role belongs more to the product manager, whereas the tactical things in SAP teams, they belong to the product owners. So if you would compare the product owner role from the SAP to the Scrum product owner, they would be different. Expectations would be different. But this is just the methodology. This is just how teams are organized. And because they use the same terms, it's confusing to all of us. Yeah, someone can take out of the context the product owner from Scrum and say, this is what I do, those are my responsibilities as the product owner. And someone will read the SAP and say, no, you're not, you need to work in a tactical level. Here's your backlog, here's your requirements grooming session. That's what you do. So don't deep dive into market, don't deep dive into anything else that it's not related to you. And when we start working as a product owner, when we are assigned this role, full-time, part-time, temporarily, permanently, doesn't matter. We need to understand what is their organizational model. Yes. So how is the project organized? What are the stakeholders? What are their expectations? How do they perceive this? And what methodology we're using? This is the context that we need to understand in order to be 100% sure we know what we have to do and what is expected from us and what level of responsibility and accountability we have. Then it's not over. Now we have one of my favorite books on the BA market called Discover to Deliver. Yeah. And Kirilla is smirking because this is one of my favorite books. And we have even a workshop based on this book. And they speak a lot about the things called product championship. Yeah. So they don't use the same words that created this mess on the market. Product manager, product owner, business analyst. It's also confusing, and every institute, will say that our role is the most important and things like that. So they use the product champion. And they also are more related to how Scrum described product ownership, yes, to how Agile positioned that, because we live in the product-centered world, and this is what the book is about. And they describe a use case of a real project solving a real business problem and how they organize into some sort of partnerships, yeah, some sort of guilds, as I call them. So they speak about product champions, yeah. And they use a very nice, I call it a magic triangle. So there are three sides that are involved into developing a product. Yeah. So we have a side of a customer. Yeah. They have some desires. They want to save money. They are frustrated with existing product. They want something new or something improved or whatever. We have business that we support, right? Because business wants to grow and wants to satisfy the clients and, grow their portfolio of products, grow their database of clients and things like that. And we have technology. technology. So technology want to do something feasible that's going to be used. Yeah. So they want to use the technologies to its best so that, you know, people will, I'm sorry, I think you see.
We see the triangle.
Yes, the triangle, but also you've seen the video of all of us speaking. So what they're saying is that the product champion is someone that is on a business side, yeah? So they need to understand the strategy, why we do something, what are the pains of the customers, you know, how technology can support and solve those pains, and how can convert it into the gain so that the customer will, you know, achieve what they're expected to do. And so the product champion is someone that sits in here. But what is also described in this book and described in many other books is that if we will introduce business analysts here, this is absolutely possible, even if we talk about the Scrum teams, but they are more supportive of the technology. Yeah? So BA's role is more to support the requirements and generation, to support the analysis. And of course, business analysts are involved into analyzing the strategy, the goals, but the core thing is that they analyze that in order to see how they can be converted into actionable things for the technology team, yeah? How those things can become then, you know, solution requirements. So this is their key role. BAs by design are not those who's gonna facilitate the customers and not those who's going to facilitate. And, you know, this is what the book describes. Yeah. So don't judge me strictly. Yeah. Those are just the opinions. And the product owner role is more what we understand right now under product management. Yeah. So they need to understand the market. They need to understand the end users, and they need to see, you know, how this desires and problems can be converted into something that will achieve, you know, success and growth to the company they work for, right? Product owners can be on the customers and can be on the business side. And the thing I love about this book is that they speak about the partnership. Yeah, so there is a customer partnership, there is a business partnership, and there is a technology partnership. And when we speak about the customer partnership, the roles that can come from the customer that should collaborate, you know, in all this process, users, buyers, advisors. Yeah. When we speak about the business, it's a sponsor, yeah, who's going to pay for this initiative to, you know, we need some investments to start with. The product champion, the provider, the advisor, yeah, because not all of the businesses can afford, you know, building the technology, so that they might, you know, use a third-party vendor to do that. And when we speak about the technology partner, it's a builder, yeah, it's an advisor. So once those three entities, those three partnerships collaborate together, they will produce magnificent result, and they will lead to building a product that is lovable by the end users, yeah, that is needed by the customers, and that generates revenue for the business, yeah, and satisfies technology, because, you know, tech guys could have tried a lot of different innovative technologies that, you know, made a lot of sense to the customer. So this is their perception of what is the product owner, and they describe it in, you know, in very details, you know, different workshops and canvases and techniques that they are using as a team, and, you know, what is BA or product champion doing there. So I totally recommend you reading this book. It's available in a digital version, I think a free version, so you can download it and read easily, because it's a cool one. Yeah, it provides more insights on how you can effectively collaborate with the others, depending on what role you play. And after that, so we know that IIBA was famous for developing this different certification, CCBA, CBP, but a few years ago, IABA took a shift, yeah, and they understood that even if we develop our core competencies in business analysis, there can be a T-shaped model applied, where we can develop some other skills and build up our muscles, our biceps, you know, with some other cool stuff that help us grow, not probably, you know, vertically, but horizontally, yeah, like imagine a T ladder. And they have created a bunch of different, you know, other guides that help, you know, BAs to be successful on Agile projects, on the AI related projects like big data, in cybersecurity and product ownership, yeah. So IABA proclaims that product ownership differs from the classic business analysis. It incorporates a lot of the techniques, a lot of the processes that BAs are used to, that are described in a BA book. But also, if you work as a product owner, if you act as a product owner on a project, you need to have a framework to help you, you know, evolve and shuffle, your mindset and shuffle your activities so that it would bring this maximum value to the team and to the product development. So they came up with a book which is around, I think, 300 pages long. So it's less than IIBA. It's more fun. They use different, personas, and depending on your situation, where you're a single product owner, or you work in the team of product owners, or you're helping product owners, helps you to find out, what you're supposed to do and what might be expected from you to do, and what kind of tools and techniques you can have at hand to be successful in your activities. So this guide is absolutely okay for the product owners, the proxy product owners, and any team members who would like to better understand, how to collaborate effectively in this new combination in a product-centered world. So I encourage you also to find it. It's available on the IABA website, and let's see what's inside. So what they are saying, so what IABA is saying is that the product ownership, no matter how you're called, if you do the product ownership, the activities that you use, they help to craft the value delivery, and the idea is the product owner actually has to meet both the operational requirements, the tactical level, as we call it, and to meet the strategic goals. So it's not something unrelated. It's not something you do partially, but we need to know the strategy, we need to meet the strategy, and we need to adapt the tactics that we have in order to meet this strategy. And this is very important. And those tactics and requirements, they might be changing because we live in Agile, and those things, we do change management all the time. So we don't have a prescribed agenda every day that we follow from A to Z, and nothing else happens. This is the different reality that we live in. So this is what is their understanding. And in order to build the framework, they've cultivated the best practices from traditional product ownership that was developed initially when Agile was launched and world moved to product-centered design. Agile business analysis, this is another extension developed by IABA not that long ago. Human-centered design approaches, business model development, lean startup, because what product owners need to be cautious of is they need to have this constant feedback loop and eliminate the waste. So this is what is called by maximizing the value delivered. So we need to understand what we need to stop doing because it doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. And it requires constant analysis and constant focus. They also nailed something from the lean product development and different design sprint methods and things like that. So the guide is really based on all of the innovative things that you've recently heard, design thinking, human-centered approaches and things like that. So it's not something separate, but they try to integrate it as much as possible into the reality, which is kind of cool, and I really love and appreciate that. And how they depict the role of this product owner, product ownership analysis. They call it always the discipline, but you might have different titles. So it's very multidimensional. You're not just focused on the backlog and analysis, but you're focused on delivering value. And often when I talk to people, to BAs or whoever who acts as the product owner or product manager, or I try to help people assess their skills and knowledge and what they've done. So they always tell me, I act as a product owner. I'm like, okay, so show me what you do. And they show me the backlog, everything. And then I ask, how do you know that, everything that you've developed actually meets the expectations of the users and actually delivers the value? Well, I don't know. We were told we need to develop a product. From this point, I understand that the person is not quite aware of the product ownership, and they analyze something. They stick more to the past, to the project, centered world. And if they don't have the value, it's not about having it written down. It's about understanding what is the end goal, what are the strategies, what are the objectives and goals that we want to meet with this product. And strategy is not about specific look of the product. It's about what we want to achieve and what problem we're trying to solve. So if this knowledge doesn't exist, and the team and the so-called product owner doesn't know that, we are in trouble. Because we say that we do Agile, we say that we follow Scrum methodology, that we follow the product-centered approach, but we are not. Yeah, so we do things as usual as we did in the past. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. And this person, plays multiple different, roles, leading, being a champion, learning the domain, learning the technologies, helping the team, to grasp their best to build something that will bring the maximum value to the client. And they follow the so-called, 7 principles, which are correlated with Agile business analysis. So what if you are a product owner, according to IABA standard, you need to think as a customer. Yeah, you need to ensure that solutions are built on a foundation of understanding the customer needs. You need to see the whole. Yeah, we call it the helicopter view. See the whole picture. Analyze the needs in the context. Yeah, which is important. If you are familiar with the recent, the 3rd version of IIBA, they have this 6 core concepts, 6 key concepts that you need to keep in mind when you're doing analysis. Yeah, you need to understand the needs, the solution, the context, the stakeholders, the values, and things like that, in order to, if one component, if one key concept changes, yeah, we change our goals, we change the strategy, or the value needs to be changed, all of them will be reshuffled, and you need to redesign all of the requirements built on top of that, right? So that is seeing the whole, yeah, being in the loop of all the changes, analyzing to determine what is valuable. Yeah, so what is not valuable, we need to drop. Yeah, so because we are constantly focused on maximizing the value delivered, designing solutions that have an impact. Yeah, getting real using examples. So if we build everything in assumption and it's not tested, validated, we've never piloted or prototyped it, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Understand what is doable. Yeah, so we might come up with different fantastic ideas, but is it really what we can deliver? Is it really something that will create a change? Is it something that will not, cause any series of constraints to us? So we need to think about that, and always stimulate collaboration and continuous improvement. Yeah, we need to eliminate the bias. We always need to think what we do that is not needed. Yeah, what we develop that isn't, what we can eliminate, how we can improve. This is very important, and you can't do that just once in a while. Today I'm kind of have a little of activities to do, so I can see what we can improve. Yeah, it's something that you have to constantly keep an eye on and analyze. Avoid waste. Yeah, identify what activities and don't add any value, and we have to skip doing that. Yeah, if we are producing very shiny user stories, yeah, polished, with mock-ups, but they take a lot of time and the team is stuck and we don't deliver what we've promised. So can we do that in a different way? Is the team in a desperate need of very fancy design? Yeah, or we can do something simpler. Yeah, so we always have to analyze that and find a way how to improve. And what is really great is that those 2% of this 1% of product managers that we have, this probably graph sounds very familiar, though in a product management frameworks, it has only 4 main stages of product development. IABA developed that to 6 because we need to be different. So the product owner plays a role on every single stage of product development, from incubation through build, launch, growth, maturity to decline. And here you will ask me a question. So do product owners really do everything that product managers used to do? And I will do a little spoiler. No. Yeah, so no. Yeah, there are things that in none of the literature that I've read and none of the standards that I've checked recently and in the past, they speak about all of the different things. So you must remember that PO is a role that you are assigned to. Maybe it's temporarily, maybe it's not even a part of your career map. Yeah, you might be called in a different, your position might be different, your title might be different, and how you grow in your company. But you play this role and you're accountable for certain things, but there are things that you will be not accountable for. Yeah, it's better to check up front. But the product managers, they focus a lot on this growth, maturity, and decline. And I will show you the metrics from Pragmatic Marketing at the very end of this presentation, so you would see what are the other tasks that product managers are responsible for that would never fall into 100% under the role of product owner. Yeah, so still the discipline of product management is even wider than what is explained. But why it's important for the PO to be on all of those stages, because PO works with these different, stakeholders. If product managers in our mind are more focused on the market and the customers, there are so many stakeholders that create an impact, that are involved into product build and design, that they would seek help from, subject matter experts, tech experts, I don't know, any types of, business unit leaders, people that might be affected by what we're doing, or people who might be contributing or supporting the build of the product. They are all stakeholders, and someone needs to keep, their attention. Someone needs to keep an eye on them and gather information from them, which is important and serve as an input to our, design options. So this product owner, they play a role in all of those different stages, and they need to be present in order to, to align all of the stakeholders on what's going on and what changes it might cause for the dev team in their development process, or, marketing team might come up with some ideas, that, can create a new backlog, to our dev team. So those are all sources of requirements, as we call it in business analysis world. Now, so of course, there is a framework developed in order to support product owners in their journey. And, they have this, 7 fundamental principles, some foundational concept, the customer side, the team side, and all of those different things. And of course, they provide tools and techniques and tasks and processes, how a product owner can, do that. If we need to cultivate the customer intimacy, what is meant actually by that? So what we need to do, so how we can learn the needs, how we can facilitate the clients, to get these needs, and all of the different things like that. I'm sorry, I missed the fundamental concepts. What practices we need to establish on an organization level to, to create this environment of product delivery, right? So what we have to do, what is the puzzle, what pieces are missing, what team members we need, and sort of like that. We need to engage, product owners need to engage the whole team. And what I like a lot, we're gonna have the outcomes slide, is that in this product-centered world and in the product ownership analysis, we should not focus as much on the deliverables that we're expected to deliver. We need to understand what outcomes are expected from us, and outcomes is the direct association to the value. If some value is expected, we organize this team to deliver this value, then it should be outcome based, and it doesn't matter if we will deliver 100 pages of documentation or just 1, or we'll have 0, unless we produce enough for the team to support them in their designing, in choosing the options, and in delivering something that is really used by the end users. So we need to apply the approaches and techniques and deliver both on the go, which makes sense at the current moment of time. So we don't want to have something very fancy and shiny that will never be used. And this is an important thing to remember. What help us make an impact? How we identify, how we get the customer's attention, how we identify the target audience, and what the target audience might be missing. How we design the impact and things like that. How to deliver often. Having this feedback loop, reshuffling the backlog. Doing the changes that we need to do. Organizing our backlog in the way that will respond to the change, that will respond to the expected value that needs to be delivered, and things like that. How to learn fast. It's incredible, but sometimes we don't even have time to get this knowledge really quickly. But there are techniques that help us better prioritize, or help us introduce a new technology. Learn fast is about speaking to the competitors or getting the point of view from the competitors, which is very important, and obsessing about the value. So value is everything, and it's the value that is actually delivered by the product and the value that we have inside of our collaboration team. So if what we do is effective, should we eliminate something or not? So you can deep dive into this framework. Of course, it's a, it's a 300 pages long book, and you can, if you're a member of the IABA, you can download it easily. If not, I think you can buy it, or maybe your friends can borrow you. But it's a very nice perspective. How they, how they see the product development, and because I have the Pragmatic Marketing certification. So in the past, I tried to nail the product management and understand, what are the pitfalls, what are the insights, and how it's different from business analysis, and how I can use it to my best. A lot of the things I've learned in there, they have a point of view in here, which is kind of cool. And even if you don't work as a product manager, but you work with the product manager, it might help you better align and understand, how can you guys help each other? Yeah, because those things will happen. And the framework is actually about that. They focus on, the development frameworks, which was never mentioned in the BA because BA focuses, we either work in predictive or in adaptive approach. Yeah, but here the practices were nailed, based on, how DevOps framework is organized. So feature-driven development, or Scrum, or Kanban, or SAP, or extreme programming. So they took a look into those most famous methodologies and frameworks, and they tried to understand how product owner fit in there, and how it might affect or change the work being done by this role. The outcomes, yeah. So what I really love is that no one expects from product owner to work on very detailed backlog items. Yeah, let's call them requirements. Yeah. Acceptance criteria, definitions of done, user scenarios, examples and screen mockups, data, process models, and all of the different things that BAs do. And what they are saying here, if you have a BA in the team, that's what they have to focus on and help the team with. But the outcomes that product owner wants to produce are, building the shared understanding of the vision of the product, of the priorities, and the tools that PO can use for that, and the deliverables that he can produce or she can produce might be very different. Yeah, you might use a story map to show that. You might use a PowerPoint presentation, a video, I don't know, anything else. So we don't focus on how they're gonna do that, but that's an outcome that we need to have in any different ways that can be represented, and the team likes it. Yeah, selecting solution options for the design and build. Yeah, so the PO understanding the needs, understanding the context, wants to have this outcome, like we're gonna build this way. Yeah, and it's not just that this person decides how to do that, because this person might not have a solid solution architecture background, but facilitate the team to come up with that outcome, right? But this outcome is something that is, PO are dedicated to. Maintaining prioritized product backlog, yeah, because we're going to have this constant reshuffling. We're going to get the feedback from the clients. We're going to get, the feedback, from the MVPs, so different prototypes, so different, POCs that we do. And it's going to impact the backlog. It's going to impact the requirements that we work on, and support the team's build activities, yeah? So whatever is need to be done to facilitate the team, to engage the team, to raise the spirit, to align on a strategic and tactical level. This is what PO should focus on all the time. And the rest of the work, the very, deliverables, like scenarios, use cases, and all the details, they can be developed by the team. And it's up to the team to decide who's going to do that. What role do we need to do that, right? But that's the difference. That's the line that they have between a BA and a PO, yes? So for a BA, this requirements analysis and requirements lifecycle management part is a big piece of work that they do and they focus on, yeah? For the PO, it's less important, and they are more focused on this, strategic level, solution evaluation, team engagement, yeah? I don't remember that there is a mentioning, so BAs work with tons of stakeholders, but they don't have a focus on engaging, everyone and being this, everyday facilitator, yeah? It's something they can do on purpose when there is a need for that. So they describe also the typical stakeholders that PO works with: customers, key stakeholders who might be, business leaders, someone involved in the product development, someone who's going to benefit from that product, who is interested, who can contribute and things like that. Competitors, definitely, the delivery team, and the supporting stakeholders. And supporting stakeholders, those might be those who partially provide some support. It might be marketing team, yeah? It might be subject matter experts, that you consult with from time to time. So we are running out of time, so I'm going to speed up a little bit. And there are different responsibilities for the PO, and that can be found in a book. So this might be a single practitioner that works in a team, or there might be a lot of those practitioners in a single team. Yeah. So what I like this time about this guidebook is that they try to analyze different potential scenarios, what situation PO might be in, and how it might affect their role and responsibilities. And there might be multiple teams with multiple practitioners working as product owners, and what is important to them. Yeah. So if we have a single practitioner, there will be responsibility for defining the value, building shared understanding, deciding on the solution option, maximizing this value of delivery. If there is multiple practitioners in the teams, then we will build product ownership related work that needs to be done, by everyone, across the team. So we're going to share that. We're going to share the ownership and share the outcomes. And if we talk about multiple teams, it's all about collaboration and communication across the teams. Yeah, having understanding the complexity and the challenges and the dependencies. So they cover that as well, which you can read. And my favorite part is about the challenges. Yeah, so everyone understands, and even IABA, that there are certain misconceptions in this world, and nothing is, straightforward. Yeah, so even if you will read the book, you will show the book to your manager, to your leader, to your client, it doesn't mean you're going to do 100% of everything that is in there. You need to adopt it and align, the framework to your situation, to your context, to your, methodology and framework that your team is using, and things like that, and improve that. So one of the things they say is that there is, change versus predictive approach. Yeah, we are trying to mix every time predictive and change approach, and it's very hard to change our mindset and understand that we don't necessarily need to have a fixed scope up front, and we need to get used that we might have a vision of what we're going to do. We might have ideas of the early components we're going to build, but it doesn't mean we're going to have them detailed enough. And it doesn't make sense because it's going to be waste, because in the process of discovering requirements with different stakeholders, these opinions will be changing, and the solution options, they will be, changing based on the inputs that we're going to take. And this is okay. Yeah. So there is some, extent to that. Yeah, we can't play with solution architecture that way. We can't change it every day. Yeah, so there is some certain things that we have to stick to. This is, this is obvious. But in general, yeah, what I'm saying. What is the difference between product manager and PO? So what this guide is saying is that they overlap a lot, but the level of accountability would be different. Yeah, so one will be responsible for the end result, for the product performance, for the lead generation, for the selling of the product, for the market positioning, and it's not something product owner is responsible for. Yeah, so they need to be aware of what's going on and how it's going to impact then the delivery team, but it's not necessarily their focus of work. Yeah, to work with the sales, to work with the marketing, to analyze the data every day on what's going on the market. So what we're going to do with the BAs, yeah, so we have this product ownerships, what BAs needs to do, to become product owners, to sub-developing or things like that. So what is going to happen with that? Actually, what they're saying is that BAs needs to extend, their portfolio, yeah, and to grasp, how product ownership is done, and to develop this in a T-shaped model, to develop their muscles in product ownership, as well as they can develop in any other disciplines. So it doesn't mean that, having a PO we don't need a BA, yeah? So we need BA to do a lot of things, unless we don't have, unless we ask PO to do everything that BA needs to do. So every time you're granted this role, you're assigned to a product owner by the client, by your team, whatever, you need to ask yourself and the others, so what's level of responsibility and accountability you expect from me? Is it the role where I totally focus on requirements and on the backlog, or is it something that is really PO is responsible for? I'm responsible for aligning. I'm responsible for this and that outcomes. And here, where you will understand if you are named a PO, are you really a PO, or it just a name, it's just a confusion, but you're going to do the role of a BA, at the same time. So this is something you need to figure out every time you're assigned. Don't get excited. Oh my God, I was assigned a PO role. In 90% of the cases that I have, but my experience is limited. People acted, they have titles of product owners, but they acted 100% as BAs. Yeah. So there were other, product owners on the client side that, wanted to be responsible for what, PO is responsible, but it's just the name. And that very often when we work in the world of nearshoring, outsourcing, outstaffing projects, we are, remember that magic triangle where we are that technology provider to some other business, and the customers are not really our customers. Yeah, so we need to understand that there will be someone dedicated to product ownership on the client, on the business side. Yeah, and to us it's going to be the client. Yeah. And there was a question at the very beginning. So if PO is very busy and doesn't have time to that, introduce the proxy product PO, see where you can put the line, see, what other activities you can take from that busy product manager or busy product owner so that you would be effective for your team, and explain this role. So your role is to engage the team as a product owner. And if PO is not able to do that because you're located across the ocean, or there is a huge time gap, different time zones, so any other things that that person struggle with, take those responsibilities, say that you can do that, and grasp that knowledge and help it out. The core responsibilities, can differ, based on that context. There is also an overlap of project management and product owner. Again, they overlap, but there is a difference. No one reports to a product owner. Product owner is not responsible for the, cost, budget, and, and people management. So there are a lot of things that are different, but if there is an overlap, and by, any chance, those two positions, they are on one project, you guys have to sit and agree. What are the things that you do together, that you're dependent on, that you're responsible for? Yeah. And of course, trust and decision making. Yeah. So team might expect that the product owner is the only decision maker. PM might be scared that the team, will be under the leadership of the PO, and PM will not have, this impact on, people management part, and, people will not, perceive that person, as a leader. So it's important to remember that product owner builds and enables the team to make the decisions. Yes. So, so product owners have facilitate, engage the team so that the team will say, yeah, based on what we have as an input, we're going to do this way. So this is the best way. So is this a shared responsibility? And in no way, PO should develop the leadership, and trust that, people report to that person, or they are the only decision makers, and everything depends on the product owner and their decisions. It's not like that. Yes, it's not the final source of decision making, let's say. And there is a very good author, Robin Pitchler. I encourage you to read that, to read his blogs. And I think he's an author of some books. He's a product manager, and he speaks a lot about the myths that we have between the product owners and product managers. And he also raises the topic, so that based on different methodologies, team will be organized in a different way, and role with the same name might have different different list of responsibilities and a kind of level of accountability. So it's really important for you to understand, how you fit in that framework and what is expected, because even the same title, might have a different meaning and a different situation in a different context, and it's important for you to remember that. And yeah, we're running out of time, so you're gonna go through that. So there's a difference, yeah, between PO and PDM, and but you can read that. But my favorite piece is this. So this is the product management framework called Pragmatic Marketing, and you can see all of the different things that product managers are responsible for. And sometimes they do this difference. There is a product management that is lies more in marketing, more on a technical side, more on a strategy line. Don't pay attention to the circles. pay attention to all the different varieties of tasks. And a lot of them are not in the scope of neither a business analyst nor a product owner. Yeah. And what I'm always saying, if you struggle right now on a project, you have a product manager and you act as a BA or PO, what's the difference? Ask, what that product manager is responsible for. Are they responsible for working with the sales team? Are they responsible for writing collaterals, sales documentation, supporting lead generation, supporting marketing, supporting, having this, checking conversion rates and stuff like that? If yes, they are true product managers. If not, they may be called product managers, but they may act in a similar role as you do, yeah? And this is why you might have some confusion, and this is how you need to adapt who is responsible for what. So that's a very interesting framework. You can check it in Google very easily. I understand that I can't deep dive too much into all of the details and all the questions that you guys might have because we're limited in time, but just to give you a direction where you can deep dive. And of course, IABA, based on this guide, they have developed their certification. So I think it was launched in July this year. So that's a pretty fresh one. And I know in our company, we have people who already, passed that. And I'm super excited. So what I'm excited about is not certification, but that the world, lives the world is organized in a certain way these days, yeah, and those ways they are changing, and every time there is, it evolves, the practices evolves, the way we, treat the clients, the way we treat the product delivery, it evolves, and IABA focuses on these changes and incorporates that into their methodologies and their guides to help everyone succeed in their career and to help everyone succeed in their daily routine. Because, we might know something, but when we have a place where we can, take a look at and see, okay, I can try this technique, I can try this process. Oh, this is how this problem can be solved. So having this help is really supportive and creates a difference and make us a better professional. So that's all for me. I took 5 extra minutes, but maybe we have some, questions or comments that we can discuss.
We do. There are actually a bunch of them, so there's a lot of work for me to read them.
But we have to warn that we will take some extra time. So if people, are okay to stay longer, you guys can stay longer. If not, I'm so sorry. You can ask me a question on LinkedIn. Yeah, you can contact me on LinkedIn or Facebook.
Yeah, that's always a great idea. So let me just read out the questions to you. So the first one, really short one, I believe, was from Daria. If you can share the resource you got this picture from, the one that was used on the Productcentered slide. You had that sketch there where you have a product owner, you have the team there, and then emphasize.
The source is Google. So you can guys just Google Projectcentered versus Productcentered design, and you will get those pictures. So those pictures were typically issued by either the Scrum guide or any other product-driven methodologies. So they are not of mine or software, and I'm not sure I put a disclaimer on the pictures because I was in a hurry with this presentation. So I hope I didn't use it for commercial purpose, but just to showcase. But you can easily Google them; they're available in Google Images.
Daria is not a lawyer, and she's not going to sue you or something.
I don't know.
So the next one is from Marina. She says, an effect of business analyst can be visible for the client in 1 month. How much time will PO need to work with the product so their contribution is visible?
So if we have a case, where a business analyst will be visible to the client in the role of a product owner. Am I taking it right? How much time he needs to spend with the product manager on the client side to grasp the knowledge? If I've got it right, it depends. It depends on your experience and what you know, because there are so many things in that multidimensional role of a product owner. You need to understand the domain, you need to understand the business, you need to understand the tech side as well. And this is very demanding, And what IABA is saying is that it's hard to have ready-made experts that know everything. So this is the time that we'll learn. When with every new project we'll learn something new. So as far as I remember, some of the clients in the United States shared with me that for our product owners that we provided from our company, they needed 3 months to get this knowledge from the product managers on a very high level to understand the business, the stakeholders, all of the context around, and be able, to individually, without any help, to provide it to the team and back to the stakeholders and be effective. So it takes a year to build super great knowledge, expertise over a domain. It depends what domain you're working in. If it's a space industry, you're in trouble, or genetics. But if it's something, something retail based that that you are familiar as a user with, it might be easier. But from 3 months, I would say to to any longer.
All right.
So this is yeah.
Then the next one from Kartik. While taking the journey from business analyst to product manager, does the stop of product owner come in between? So is that like a specific stage you need to go through to move to a product manager?
Not necessarily, because you can you can simulate product ownership even if if you work in a different position. You have to agree that with your team, and try to play that. Product ownership is very close to product management in most of the scenarios that we have discussed, right? But it's not 100% product management. If you're not into stats and graphs and supporting the sales team and doing all that biz dev stuff and marketing, then product ownership is good enough. So it you're gonna be all about the product. You will be passionate about the product, and you will not worry about the revenue generated by the product. You won't worry about those different KPIs and things like that, which is a cool thing to do, right? You won't be establishing the price calculators for your product. What would be the subscription price? What would make sense? It requires tons of data to be analyzed in order to do that. And I think product managers, have a bit different mindset than POs, but at the same time, POs are very close to business analysis. So whatever BAs did in the past, overlaps a lot with product ownership. But what you get as a BA, I think you're going to do less of this low-level work where you have to provide, detailed specs and detailed requirements. You can rather invest your time and efforts into facilitating the team producing that, and you can focus on something more strategic. So it's something in between, I would say. But according to Hover Podesma, and according to that, Roman Pichel, blogger, product ownership is derived from product management. So that's just the new framework we live in, the new mindset that we live in, but it's the same. But what I see in the frameworks for product ownership, it's not. That's why I showed you these pragmatic marketing charts so that you would see, what are the other focuses of the product manager. And if you're not interested in that, don't move there, stop at product ownership. And what I really like right now, that being a BA gives us a chance to develop this, letter T, to build our muscles, our biceps around cybersecurity and around AI, around product ownership, so that we can step into different roles and be successful. And this is great. You're not limited, right? And you can give it a try. If I answered your question.
Yeah, I think you did.
But to summarize it, it's not a career map, BA, product owner, product manager. It doesn't exist like this. So it very much depends on the company or organization.
Yeah. Okay. The next one is from Mike. He says, product owner requires additional responsibilities. For BA, it's additional challenge. What are financial benefits for SoftServe to have more product owners, if any? Any thoughts on that?
I didn't say, we have a new business model built around that. But if you work in a business of outsource, let's say, so I'm not talking about SoftServe right now. I will just generalize that because there are a lot of people here from similar companies, I believe. People have, positions, titles have rates, right? And, product owner, might be more expensive, because the person will provide the outcomes, which probably the client can't cover. And it's not only about requirements, and it's about the leading them to the successful product delivery, which is more valuable indeed, and it will cost more money. Yeah, so we can do the monkey job. You give us a task and we deliver that in a project-centered world, or we act as a product team and we provide you with all the necessary outputs for you to get that value. So we are partially responsible for your success. Yeah, it's a shared responsibility, and this shared responsibility costs more. Then we can do another, step up. And let's say we're gonna own it all. Yeah. So you guys invest your money, we build successful product, we measure the KPIs. We are the absolutely responsible 100% for all the product development lifecycle. It costs even more. Yeah. So that's the margin that you can get, the more ownership you provide. It's not just about the position you sell, it's the value that you offer to the client. If the client is responsible, you have a shared responsibility, or this responsibility is totally on you. That costs money because you're going to cover the risks. Who pays for the risks? We'll charge you more.
Thank you. And the next one is from Mariana. She says, Nati, what is the most important soft skill that product owner should take into account working in all those frameworks?
As the same as for business analysts. Yeah. So we are not tech people. We are communicators. Yeah. How we communicate, what we communicate, how effective we are in conflict resolution. This is a very key thing that, POs and BAs needs to be always cautious about, because not a proper question, can create a conflict. Yeah. Or if you will not ask something, you will not know that it exists and needs to be incorporated, and it's important for the end users. So those communication skills, it's not just your ability to speak the language. Yeah. It's the ability to use the language effectively, written, verbal, whatever, so that you would get all the information that is needed. You will understand the context. You will build relationship, because without building a relationship, this whole thing will not happen. There will be no collaboration, no engagement if you hate each other, right? So you need to build this positive environment, and this is what is important. But that's all pieces of communication. So I think this is the skill that you guys need to focus on. And if you know that you speak English, and if you even graduated from linguistics department, it's not about that. Yeah, it's mastering, this, creating an impact, mastering the influence, mastering asking proper questions in a proper situation. So it has a lot of different dimensions.
Got it. All right, we have some more. Just let me know when you need to go.
Should we actually answer all of them, or I can, I don't know, send over a follow-up letter with.
Let's just take maybe two more,
okay.
And
okay.
Then you can follow up with the rest. Okay, the next one is pretty interesting, I think. Effective product owner needs feedback loops from the end users. That's what you said. Any tips on how to establish them? That one is from Mike.
So it depends where you are. If you are in that, if you would, get the memory of that magic triangle where we have customers, business, and technology. If you are on the part of the technology vendor, yeah, and your client is that business from that triangle, and you don't have direct access to the customer, this is challenging, right? Because you need to build the trust in front of the client you provide your tech services to, that you're capable of doing that you will not scare or freak out, all your customers, because that's their most important asset. Yes, they are customers, and they need to love the company, to love the product and what is being developed. So there are a lot of risks, connected to that the tech vendor not having the domain expertise, the product expertise, the business expertise, will ask the proper question and not scare off their customers. Yeah, so that's a challenging thing. So what I was doing in such situation, I was asking to at least involve me into this conversation, so that I would be in a hidden mode. I would listen to that passively. I will not be the active supporter. I would provide the questionnaires to the product manager. So I was trying to find a way how to fit in so that people would understand that their risks are low, but I would get the information that I needed. If you work in a product company where you develop the product and you are the PO and you are the boss of the bosses, and you just take your customers, build a portfolio of customers, early adopters, and you can find them, when you provide early articles about the idea of the product, early presentations, or you find the target audience. And multiple ways how to do that, to find the early adopters and to talk to them and work with them. I was even looking for some on LinkedIn, when I needed their help. And so it's, you will find a way. There is a Facebook. When I needed a target audience to ask questions about, so I was working on a project on a product. It's a ERP system development, and it was developed for the IT segment here in Ukraine. Not here because I'm not in Ukraine right now, right? But here we go. But it was in Ukraine for the Ukrainian market. So we needed to understand, what is needed by the managers in IT business in their specific environment, so that this ERP system would have. And no one provided me with the list of people to talk to them. What I did, I put a post, so I posted on Facebook, like, I'm looking for these guys. I want to ask these questions. Please recommend. And I got the whole list of different, CEOs, CFOs, CTOs of different size IT companies I could talk to, and do the user interviews and the buyers interviews. So there are, multiple ways to figure it. Once you have a task, you will find a way how to do that. But the core is to understand if you have this access and where you are in that triangle. Are you on the business side? Are you on the tech side? Are you somewhere aside of that triangle? And you need to understand that it's not that someone doesn't want you to talk to those people. They just have a lot of risks connected to that. And you need to be, aware that you need to build the trust and make sure the risk is low.
Got it. Okay, let's take this last one, and then we gonna just follow up on the rest. I have them all noted down, guys. Don't worry, so you'll get your answers. So let's take this one from Roland. What do you think about the role of a proxy PO or best friend of the PO? Is this just another name for BA, or does it come with other responsibilities?
No. What IABA is saying, so proxy product owners are fine, because the scope of work for the PO might be so big that they might not, be able and capable of delivering everything that is expected from them. So having a proxy product owner, helps them to delegate the tasks, and to, build another layer of maybe communication. Maybe teams are very big, or whatever. So it sounds weird when you read SAP. I don't think SAP speaks about proxy product, but I'm not 100% sure because I'm not an expert in that methodology. But they have product managers and product owners who play the proxy product owner PO. So I would say from the experience, proxy product owners are more like business analysts. So they do a lot of these tactical things and responsible for them. But it's okay. It's a way to go, and it's a way to grasp more knowledge about product ownership and what they are focused on, and to learn that way. But I think it's good. I don't see any problem with that.
All right. Thanks a lot, Nati. Thanks for being here and giving this wonderful speech. So I think we have to wrap up because we're out of time. So thanks a lot. And guys, I just want to mention that we're going to have another speech today by Alexander Yavlinsky at 4 p.m. Kiev time. It's going to be called Unlock Your Superpowers, Driving Value Through Industry Expertise. So if you want to catch this one, also join us later on. Thanks a lot, Nati.
So thank you very much for having me here, and all of the questions, and I will make sure I will respond to them, in the follow-up email to all of you. And if you guys, have any other questions, or you want to comment, or you want to tell me that what I said, doesn't make sense to you and have a different situation and you're looking for some advice, you can find me on LinkedIn or Facebook. I have the same name, Nati Nazar, so it's pretty easy to find. I'll be happy to talk to you and connect. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.